Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Spice Files once again. This is the Summer Derby 2020 edition. I'm joined again by Dave Firth Bard. How you doing?
Hey, Mike. I'm happy and great to be here. I'm sitting underground in an undisclosed location. As you can see, I have the trendy accessory of the summer, and I see that you're rocking your coronavirus haircut also.
Indeed, yeah. Gonna figure out what to do about that soon enough, but I'll figure that out after this video is over, probably.
One day, hopefully, years and months and years from now, we can look back at some of these videos and timestamp them based on the hairstyles, the accessories. A couple episodes ago, I completely shaved my beard. I think there's a lot of weird stuff if you go back in the Spice Files archives. So, yeah. But it's all for posterity. We will have this forever.
Yeah, I figure it's a good enough time to just try something different, even. So I might just like shave my head. I don't know. They got different weird ideas going through my head right now.
I can definitely recommend just shaving it all off. My wife has cut my hair 4 times so far during the quarantine age. So
nice. Well, so we're covering the Summer Derby. This is your baby, so to speak. Is there anything that you want to mention before we jump into the deck list?
I mean, we can hop right in a sec. I mean, the only thing I'll say is that this was a 256-person webcam event. Actually, technically 258 players participated because we had a couple people drop after completing some games, and other guys just kind of jumped onto their strings and kept on going.
Nice.
That's the kind of event it is. It's just more aiming to be like a celebration of the community, and just an opportunity to go out of your way to play people in other countries and other clubs and play groups that you wouldn't normally see, even if you're a frequent webcam player. Mm-hmm. I mean, we had players from 15 different time zones and like 20 different countries. And I don't know, it's a pleasure to continue to run the Derby series. We do them every 6 months. The snowball continues to get bigger and bigger. 256 feels like where I want to stop, but who knows? I find it hard to turn people away from these things.
Sure.
And so, onward and upward. This time around, it was Atlantic BNR. Last time it was Pacific. Next time, who knows? And if you have ideas about that, let me know. And we'll just keep going. But we had a lot of spiky decks in the field, but also a ton of spice in the field. I think I sent you a file of 20 something really interesting decks. We've winnowed it down to 8 or 9 here, and looking forward to getting into some of them.
Yeah, and as far as the size of the event goes, I'm sure the higher quality tooling that you have available to you to run the event with has helped a lot with that. Because I can just imagine how you used to run it 3 years ago. You'd never be able to do 256 people. So
yeah, for sure. No, Slanfan, who's this programming prodigy, and offers his services for free for the old school community. A couple derbies ago, made this bespoke batch pairings tool for us, and this time certainly would have been completely impossible. I used to do move a ton of stuff around manually and run it in a regular MTG Arena, the AppSpot app that is basically just for Swiss rounds, and that would become completely impossible. It would have, I would have been spending days, especially in the switch from the first to the second batch to process everything. So yeah, we're in much better shape now.
Yeah, that's good. All right, well, we can jump right into this.
Yeah,
I'll kind of let you take the reins as far as introducing the players and that sort of thing.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll do my best. As always on Spice Files, we do not prepare notes or anything.
It's less fun that way.
We see some decks and we just prepare. We go off the cuff. All reactions are raw and new. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this first deck, this comes to us from Ben Katz, who's from the New Jersey scene. He's one of Don's Goblin Raiders. There's a bunch of spicers up that way. And I think Ben went out of his way to make a deck that used Initiates of the Ebon Hand so that he could use his Havenwood Spice Master award card. And so he has come up with this basically a Drain Life list that is, the combo here is Power Monolith. But, why kill someone with a 3-card combo, Power Monolith Fireball, when you can kill them with a 4-card combo, Power Monolith Initiates Drain Life? Because, of course, you need the Initiates because Drain Life's damage only comes from black mana. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately you're killing the Initiate in the process, but it doesn't matter if you're draining your opponent for infinite damage.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome, actually. I sort of, as far as like the two things kind of together, right? Like you have like this Power Monolith thing, and then sort of the other side of the deck. It almost feels like, it feels like maybe you just want to sort of like, at a loss for like what the exact word is, but like try and find like a halfway meeting point a little more than I'm seeing here. But it's a really cool idea. You know what I mean? Because like you mentioned, you kind of have to have the 4 right cards to put it together. And there's the side of it where you'll assemble Power Monolith, and your opponent will be like, "Oh, I got to stop that." So they're gonna like use their disenchants and stuff. So I would really love to see like just some other thing that you can then take advantage of because they spent all their disenchants trying to stop you, or just stuff like that. But it's a really cool idea. Sure. I like it.
I think it's funky. Like I like that he can pretend for a second that he's a normal black aggro or black rack deck by
right, exactly,
if he comes out the gate hemming and playing orders and initiates and stuff like that. People are like, oh, like what's this? What are all these dual lands doing here?
Yeah.
And then I don't know. If it's cool to hem away, I guess, pieces that would disrupt your combo,
True.
And then go off. But yeah, I mean, finding all these things, I imagine could get kind of tricky. It's I don't know. It's just funny.
Mm-hmm. Or even just instead of maybe. There's a lot of white lands, and because of the sideboard, but like you could still play some fireballs, right? Like,
right, yeah. I mean, he could easily play a fireball at least off of the cities. I see he doesn't have a ruby,
sure,
which is a real commitment on his. That's how you know the mana base is tuned when there's fires, right? That's like just a shortcut.
Yeah, I mean, it's really like I guess what you're trying to say is like it basically he's very, very committed to not doing the fireball part of it.
Exactly. Exactly.
I understand.
Yeah. This is I don't know. This is just funny.
That's cool.
I love to see the initiates. That is definitely the best initiates art. Don't at me. And always happy to see a list with 4 Drain Life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I'm sure there's just a lot of wins you can get off this deck where you're just like, oh, I happen to also have Assault Monolith and Power Overrect in my hand, and like your opponent just wasn't expecting that because you played the other part of the deck so far, the hymns
right, exactly.
and whatnot. It's kind of cool.
There's also a sneaky Brain Geyser kill here too. That's possible. Let's not forget that.
That is true. That's very true.
Let's not leave the deck without saying that he can kill them with Brain Geyser.
That's a fact.
All right.
Awesome.
What's next? So this next deck comes to us from Brian Lembacher, aka the Ebon Hand himself from I think the Cincinnati crew. I should not be doing this off the top of my head. But I'll just act like I know everybody. And this is a Eureka Legends pile.
Yeah. It's pretty sweet. I'm glad that there's actually individual legends. I mean, you don't get to play them very often, especially some of them that we're seeing in here, like Lady Orca, for example.
She's tough to cast.
Yeah, you just don't see those cards very often, and this is a pretty good excuse to put them into play.
I agree. Mm-hmm. I really like the Drop of Honey side of this, because all these creatures are enormous. When you're casting Eureka, obviously the opponent's going to play whatever creatures they have in their hand. Mm-hmm. Chances are they're going to be smaller than Vivictus Asmati. And And the other cool thing about the drops is you have Ruck Eggs, which are 0 power creatures. So in your next upkeep, you keep the drop around, but you're sacrificing the lowest power creature, which is the egg, and you're making a Ruck at the end, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, some of these legends, I confess, I'm not super familiar with what they do. I will say that Bartel Runax is the most playable by far out of all of those. He's the one who sees actual normal play, maybe sometimes. That guy's a house.
I'm pretty confident that Lady Orca, Jared of the Closed Fist, and the Lady of the Mountain have no actual other text on them.
They're vanilla creatures.
They're vanilla, yeah. Like Lady Orca is like a 7/4 or something, and then Jared is a 6/5, I think, and Lady of the Mountain's a 5/5. I've looked at these too much for any one human's sanity.
Yeah, that sounds bad.
Yeah, I want to say that Barktooth Warbeard has some kind of text on him, but I don't remember what it is off the top of my head.
Barktooth Warbeard, yeah, well spotted. Okay, I have a couple other questions. So first of all, the Ali from Cairo thing is sweet. They're going to be, I don't know. I feel like the opponent is going to be taking out things that could maybe 1-for-1 an Ali. Like the things that Ali fears the most usually are like mass removal things. And I don't know. That's just kind of a funky value creature to kind of.
Yeah. Also, like the bolts and chains come out.
Exactly.
Stuff,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly. And you slam that guy, and they're like, oh, well, I have to kill him before the game can return to any kind of normal state, which is pretty neat. I want to see. I want to know the matchups that All Hallows Eve comes in for.
Yeah.
And I don't know, because there are no other real like enablers here, so I guess it comes down to what your opponent's doing. Definitely not like you're not bringing it in against like swords, but if you can bring it in against, I don't know, like discard decks. Like if you're getting hymned all the time, you're losing your dudes to hymns and mind twists and stuff. All Hallows Eve becomes a really interesting sideboard card, I guess. If you're playing against like disc decks, I don't know.
Yeah.
I like some of this is probably coming in against Blood Moon, I imagine, could be a challenge for this deck. You've got the 2 basic forests there and the Emerald. Eureka is just super hard to cast if you're getting mooned.
Yeah.
So you could bring in, the additional Shivans and maybe the Ollie's from Cairo come in post board there too, because they've pulled their bolts and chains, as you said.
Maybe not their bolts, but definitely their chains have come out. So it's just easier. But and it's not too bad even with Blood Moon. He has some basic forests, so there's still some castable legends with a Blood Moon out and 1 forest.
Yeah.
Lady of the Mountain and Stang, right?
Stang. You could cast a Stang.
Yeah. Plus the Shivans and the Rook Eggs and stuff. It's not the worst, I guess.
I feel like this one wants a Caracas just hanging out in case the thing with the Stang comes up. And also just to save something from removal that you can Eureka back out later. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes sense. I like it.
That's my only qualm. I think this is a hilarious deck, and I'm just happy to see stuff like this being played on the tables.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Next up.
Next up, we have Eric Dokuto, who is he's from one of the Canadian scenes, I want to say. He's from the Toronto scene.
Nice.
Okay, and this is a Martyrs of Corliss deck. I can't say enough good things about this card. I love slamming a Martyr off of the Mana Vault there, and just sitting back, not even caring about the vault damage anymore, is a very good feeling. It breaks the symmetry on Copper Tablet. obviously don't get out of bed without, your 3 Armageddon clocks. I also love the Planes altar with the Armageddon clock art on it. That's very, very, very relevant. Fits super well with what this is doing.
That's excellent.
And then there's just a bunch of other, fun things that he can do. Like he can blow up the world with the disc, get the disc back with Archaeologist, get the Chaos Orb back with Archaeologist. He's got the Guardian Beast there that also combos with the disc and the Chaos Orb. I love that this is a moat deck. So, like, there's no pressure to run factories. You can play those mazes to get them to commit, and then blow up all their stuff. He's kind of playing a funky kind of control and outlast strategy, right? With the swords, the spirit links, the mazes, the disc, and then the big butts that he can sack to Diamond Valley to buy time. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. Also notably, no Mind Twist.
I mean, why would you want to cast Mind Twist?
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah,
it's nice to see.
Half gentlemanly, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Mind twisting someone is just a way of, like, I don't know, getting a quick win with your brew, but you don't see if your brew works then if you're mind twisting them. So.
Yeah, like if you win the game by attacking with Martyrs of Corliss, that's not really what you were. What you're looking to do, right? Yeah.
Exactly. What does Artifact Ward do, Mike? I sure don't know.
Doesn't it just do what you think it does? Like you put it, it's just like the other wards.
Is
it?
Like just protection from artifacts?
Well, but I think it's like not actually that. It's like some other oddly worded thing that doesn't give exactly protection, but it's essentially that, if I remember correctly.
All right. Enchanted creature can't be blocked by artifact creatures. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to enchanted creature by artifact sources. Enchanted creature can't be the target of abilities from artifact sources. So it is almost protection from artifacts. Damaged, enchanted, blocked, or targeted. So, God, I am struggling to see how this is materially different from protection from artifacts in old school.
So what, you can target it with artifact stuff, but that's...
No, it can't be the target of abilities from artifact sources. So it couldn't be... You can't rocket launcher damage it. You can't...
Oh, okay.
You can. Well, you can orbit because it doesn't target.
Yeah.
Bad example. You can't Aleo pile it or trike spike it. You can't... Well, I'm trying to think of an artifact source that targets but doesn't damage.
So the part that it doesn't have is
like icy manipulator. So you can't icy tap it.
So you can't. It doesn't have the enchant part of protection. Is that right?
Right, but there's nothing. You can't. There's no artifact that can enchant something anyway. So. It's
at least in old school. Yeah,
it's kind of a silly omission.
Yeah, I imagine there's probably something in like.
Well, so I guess artifact ward. If we were playing with like cards outside of old school, like you could. The enchant. So I always remember debt, like DEBT, damage, enchanted, blocked, and targeted. Enchanted also includes equipped and fortified. So I think you could still equip it, or does that kind of is being targeted by an ability from an artifact source? I don't know.
It's targeted, yeah.
All right. Well, let's not worry about this anymore. The art is really cool.
It's a funny card though.
Yeah,
but it makes sense. It makes sense here, right? I mean, you really want your Armageddon clock to stick around.
Yeah. Well, hang on. It enchants a creature though, so.
Oh, it's just a creature. Oh, okay.
So what are we protecting our guys from? I don't know.
I mean, you can. So you can put it on your Martyrs of Corliss.
Yes. And then they can't be.
So like the damage is redirected and then prevented, right?
Oh. Yeah, that's true. So your opponent's burning one, you can put the artifact ward. So you're the one really controlling the damage done. Yeah, okay. I like that.
But that's the main
Slate of Mines. You could play like a. God, what are the slates for? I I love trying to figure this out. Why? I have no idea.
I assume the slides might just be like the
For the
answer to
cops?
gloom and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, you don't want to get gloomed. That's sure.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, he's got a bunch of cops in his sideboard too, so you could play slight cop games. I don't know. Probably not great with the disc, but this is, I don't know. This is a cool pile. I love to see Marvis played. I like. There's a lot of thoughtful little synergies in here. I think the deck is cool.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Next up.
What do we? Aha! This is Gabe Parks's. This is like a black-white Underworld Dreams combo Turbo Fog mashup.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I like it a lot.
We've seen, I don't know, we've seen some like things. I feel like a little bit in the vein of this is a slightly different take, but it's it's always cool. I for some reason, part of me really likes black-white decks. I'm not sure why that is. But.
Yeah, I mean, aesthetically, there's a lot to be said. There's a lot, right? Because there's the Underworld Dreams, like Howling Mine, half of this, and then there's the full-on Turbo Fog Dirtle Fest.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the Wisps and the Simulacrum, the Ivory Towers. He can gain a ton of life. He can. The Darknesses are just fogs, right? Holy Day is basically just a fog.
Yeah.
He's got these sweepers. He's got 3 mazes that encourage you to commit into the Wrath. Another deck that is using moats and therefore doesn't have all those yucky factories messing up its colored mana, because the color requirements here are quite high if you're casting Underworld Dreams without Dark Ritual, and then you need also double white for Wrath, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, he's got Felden's Canes out of the board in case he's playing against control or something and wants to get super dirtily.
Yeah.
A Nova Pinnacle, which is like just this super villain, like Rube Goldberg, like defense type card.
Yeah. I like the mazes in the main deck. 3 is a good number.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, I like everything about the construction of this. Actually, it's very good.
Too. I kind of want to greed.
Okay.
But maybe just one, and like maybe you don't even need it with the Howling Mines. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think if you're gaining a ton of life off of the towers, greed isn't that like white black kind of mix. Also, if you're bringing Spirit Links, right, you've got other incidental life gain happening.
Right.
But man, this must have been such a pain in the ass to play against.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, that's it's similar in vein to like the Arborea fog decks and that kind of stuff, where they're just kind of annoying, right? But that's their they're just trying to outlast, and like if the game goes long enough, they'll eventually get you.
Right, exactly. And I guess we should say that this isn't even the only Turbo Fog deck in the Summer Derby. There was at least one other guy. I'm trying to remember who. Sean Pake also played a I mean, it was a very different, like more of a traditional white-green Turbo Fog list. If we're able to say that, there's any kind of traditional Turbo Fog list in 93-94.
I've probably seen more green-white ones than
black ones. But those would use like literal fog and like Holy Day, obviously. But yeah, not even the only Holy Day list in the Derby. Just a lot of people bringing out the spicy stuff.
I really like this version though, because it has a real route to ending the game in a finite amount of time with the Underworld Dreams.
It's got some inevitability for sure.
Rather than having to go down some other route, because you already want to play the Howling Mines, so it just kind of fits in naturally. It feels.
And Dreams is such a resilient threat. Like so many colors just don't even have ways of dealing with enchantments. Like if you're not playing literal disenchant. Or disc or something, like if he sticks to second Dreams, like I don't know, what are you gonna do?
Hope you draw your 1 Tranquility.
Yeah, pretty much. But most Tranquilities are not even. I mean, I don't blame into Tranquility. So.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's a post board consideration. Yeah, I don't know. this deck is deliciously evil.
Yeah, I like it.
Nice work, Gabe. All right. Oh boy. So this deck comes to us from Jeff Liu of Your Beasts of the Bay, Mike.
Indeed, yeah.
The name that he ended up settling on for this pile was Footloose.
All right.
I believe, which has to do with like dancing, and then the dance stops and you dance again or something. I don't know.
I mean, it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, just the artwork from dancing.
This deck was covered extensively on a recent episode of All Things Considered, which I encourage viewers of this show to go listen to if they haven't already. I mean, Jeff's work is just inspiring. I don't even know if I want to get into this. What this is doing is casting. It's making clones of Lord of Atlantis using Dance of Many, then immediately bouncing the Dance of Many when it's token creation trigger is going on the stack.
Mm-hmm.
There are a bunch of other dark corners here with remove enchantments that it's sort of hard to unpack. And obviously one Dan.
Well, I mean, it goes with that one phantasmal terrain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
he went like X2 with this deck or something.
Nice.
It's just ridiculous. I'm sorry, Jeff. We're not doing this justice, but you did do a whole HTC episode. But we would be remiss if we didn't show this deck in this episode, because come on.
Yeah, I mean, the thing to, I guess, mention here is that Lord of Atlantis, just on its own, is still a 2-mana 2/2. It's really not that bad. And if you ever have two of them in play, they're actually quite good, right?
Oh, yeah.
Then you have 3/3 Island Walkers, and most people have islands, to be honest. So I'm sure he won a lot of games just off of having random island walking Lord of Atlantis, even without phantasmal terraining anything.
Definitely.
And then the nice part about Dance of Many is that you don't have to copy your own creature. It's just like a clone effect, essentially. I mean, there's a trigger involved, which is why you can remove enchantments in response, right? Rather than it choosing as it enters the battlefield or comes into play. So you can just copy their stuff, right? So I'm sure sometimes he just copied the best thing in play and went to town, right? And it's an enchantment. We were just talking about how hard it is to kill enchantments in the last deck. Yep. So the downside of Dance of Many is that you have to pay for it every turn, but it doesn't seem terrible when you've copied the best creature.
No, it's not. And I don't know. I've played a bit with Dance of Many, and it can do a lot of surprising things. Like sometimes you can just refuse to pay the upkeep and then bounce it or return it some other way. Like there's no skull form here, but I specifically remember one time in my life where I intentionally, let Dance of Many die and then recurred it with Skull to recopy its Reich,
nice.
To get in the last damage, right? So they're just like a lot of funny ways that you can play around a card with a card that really looks like it has a pretty bad drawback, but actually does a lot of surprising and versatile things.
Mm-hmm. And you can even kind of do something similar to what you described if you have a bunch of Lord of Atlantises and you just want to maybe you lotus out a Dance of Many, and you can't pay for all your Dance of Many's next turn, but you get the extra pump to all your guys. And then
that's right. It's like an anthem or kind of like what's that card, Sunken City? That's like an anthem that you have to pay blue for, but no one ever does that. Yeah, just treat it more like a morale.
It's a better Sunken City.
An anthem. Yeah. All right. Yeah, this deck is insane.
I was trying to think also. How people often copy their Mishra's Factory's copy artifact.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, but there's not really like a trick that you can exactly do other than the remove enchantments trick. I don't think.
Well, it makes a token that copies the land. Then you'd still need to bounce it when the token trigger goes on the stack.
Yeah, so just the same thing. But you could.
But you could also. I mean, I guess you can use it to pump a factory. You could use the Pump a Factory in response to the remove enchantments going on the stack too, right? You make your token, you cast remove enchantments, you pump, you bounce it. That's probably not what you were going for. That is.
Yeah, I was thinking, oh, maybe there's something interesting there, but
yeah, there's a situation there where that could make sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh boy, at least get some value out of bouncing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very cool deck. I'm sure he had a blast playing it. I do actually remember before the Derby happened, he sent me a version of this or two, and I remember looking at it like, oh, this is quite interesting. And I forget exactly what my feedback was, because he was asking like what I thought about the deck and what the changes might be. I don't remember my responses at this point, but yeah, it was definitely interesting to look at there, and I'm glad that he had some pretty good success with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, and he workshopped it quite a bit since those. There were a lot of other ideas, I think, and he whittled it down to something that was competitive. Is definitely the wrong word, although he did very well with it. But a lot sharper. Cut some of the more out there ideas and really focused on like a couple really like core synergies that I think just kind of elevate this whole pile because of like how much thought I know has gone into it.
Yeah, he's a really good Magic player, and I think he can play a deck like this and go for it too. We've seen him do it quite a number of times.
Exactly. No, exactly. Yeah, I think he was 5 or 6-2. He might have like been 5-2 with like a drop or something in the string.
I see.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened. But yeah,
also,
I mean. But this is what truly good players should be doing with their time, right? Instead of spiking, like use your powers for good and not evil.
Sure. It also does crack me up though that he was awarded one of these net deck prizes at Ursus Chalice of all the people.
Right.
But I mean, he clearly deserved it. I think all of those were fairly deserving awards that were given out.
No comment on behalf of Jordan Boyle, but we can we can move on. What's next here? This is Kyle Larson's white green Enchantress brew. Always love to see Enchantress, and just people trying to make it work. I think I'm trying to. Now that I'm looking at this, I'm trying to decipher where, like, the side. Okay, so the sideboard must be 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the sideboard is like from those fanned out cards in the bottom right-ish.
Sure.
So the one ofs here, the one of Holy Strength and Damping Field and Web and Sylvan Library and Holy Armor are all in the main deck, which is important. Obviously, because you want a bunch of cheap enchantments, ideally, to cast off your Enchantress.
Damping Field's cool. You don't see that very often, but it's actually pretty fine.
Damping Field might be a card against like workshops. Like Damping Field is quite serious. So for those of you who don't know Damping Field, it's basically Winter Orb for artifacts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that's the one I'm thinking of?
Yeah, that's right.
Now that I've said that. Yeah. Which again, against like workshops where they have a pile of artifact mana and a bunch of robot dudes. That's that'll damp things for sure.
Yeah.
That'll slow things
down. It has some sweet Justin Hampton late 80s, early 90s artwork on it. Yeah.
Comic book-esque type.
Yeah, it always reminds me of He-Man. Like his style of artwork reminds me of He-Man.
It's that kind of pulpy comic book like cartoon. Kind of aesthetic. Agree. Yeah, very polarizing artist among the old Magic artists for sure. I think more people are kind of turned off by that, but I don't know. I love what I love the most is that it's just like another part of the crazy variety, like just like the huge range of artistic styles that were brought to bear on the old school sets in 93 and 94. And you just don't see that. Like you would never see that now. Like the artistic guidance for current sets is just so tightly controlled. And it was really like, it was the Wild West back then. Anything went. And so you had like this whole huge range of expressions.
I
Anyway,
really like
the
the trackers in this type of deck list, and I don't know that I've seen that before. That seems really cool.
I like Tracker a lot. We can embiggen it with cards like Aspect, with Divine Transformation, with Holy Strength. When Tracker deals his damage, his fight damage, if he has Spirit Link on him, do you gain life? Probably, right? He's dealing damage.
Yeah, it's a trigger that'll happen like afterwards.
No, I mean you gain the life, right? It's not like it keeps the Tracker alive or anything, but it is like some value there if you can like machine gun down guys.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'd almost want more trackers. Maybe Tracker is just like the better Rabid Wombat.
Wow. Yeah, it is a much more exciting thing to Voltron up, right? Because then you can just start destroying their board. I like where your head is at. I like the other thing I like here is the tax like fastbond engine, and there is a Sylvan here as well, and that all works together really nicely. Yeah, I'm stuck on that web. Web is like a favorite kind of niche card that people inevitably turn to when they're trying to make Enchantress work, I feel like.
I'm impressed that you could tell that was web.
Well, you can tell that I've played a lot of bad Enchantress decks in my life. I don't know. This is a really cool pile. I almost want. Oh, so he does have more Damping Field in the sideboard. I want to point out Kudzu also. One of the vulnerabilities of these lists, which I found, again from experience, is the challenge of opposing Mishra's Factories. Like when I played Black-Green Enchantress at Chalice, I had a full play set of Blight, and I think an Evil Presence also. He does have some swords and disenchants to deal with that, but Kudzu is like another good way of dealing with it that actually triggers Enchantress. It's basically the Enchantress version of Ice Storm, the way that Blight is like the Enchantress version of Sinkhole. So didn't want to leave here without mentioning that.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, that's definitely interesting. I hadn't considered that. I was originally thinking, well, the Kudzu's fault.
All right, I just found another card that's kind of hard to see. It's in his sideboard beneath the disenchants. Those are red wards, which if you're playing against, lightning bolts, you want to keep your Enchantress or your Tracker around. Yeah. Just slap one of those babies on.
That's pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great.
Jeez.
Yeah, this is super. I like this list a lot.
Yeah, I want to see more trackers. I'm like excited about.
Yeah, Mike is going back to his desk after this, and firing up Mana Stack or whatever, and starting the Enchantress tracker brew.
Something like that. Well, the cool thing about having all this different webcam magic to play is that there's so many formats. So all these like spice decks, they make me think about things that maybe I want to play in 1.5.
Yeah,
or whatever.
This would lend itself super well to 1.5. Although I think tax is probably banned at 1.5, right?
Yeah, but like that's
and birds. But let's not talk about that too much. But yeah, no. But your point is well taken. Like you can take these things for a spin in 1.5 or in like the Minnesota like Paladins BNR list, which gives you a little bit more time to develop, and just kind of more room for activities. Yeah, that's a great point.
Like I know I'm not the only one who I enjoy spicy decks, but it's really hard for me to like put one together and play in like one of the big events, right? It's just hard for me to like, I don't know, do that when I go into them. Other people don't have problems with that, but I enjoy looking at them and thinking through how the decks work and all that stuff, which is mainly what we're doing here. But I like to be like forced to brew by having a new format to play.
Yeah, by having like constraints that actually make you right.
Yeah,
I mean, it's understandable that you want to spike the Derby. Congrats on your top 4, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Excellent finish. But no, to your point, like I also have a hard time spicing when it's a 256 person field, and there's a chance of, because if you do well, like that's a really amazing feather in your cap, for those who are built that way. And I think, I don't know, that I think that makes this episode all the more important because I want to give, recognition to players who say, you know what, this is one of Old School's like biggest stages this year, as it turns out, especially because there are no like live in-person events for the most part. I'm going to spice, and I want to, I want to have an awesome time, basically, at the mid and bottom tables. And that's that is a very legitimate, almost like more legitimate way of approaching the format and the community, and we want to give airtime to these decks as much as we can. So I'm glad that we're doing this episode, and
for sure.
On the tournament write up for the Summer Derby, there will be a fair number of the chili peppers given out with the deck photos, and just glad to keep shining a spotlight on stuff like this. All right, we got a couple more, right?
Yep. Yeah, I think so.
Next one comes from Olga Dushina, who is a staple of the Russian Old School scene. She's an avid webcam player, has been part of the webcam scene for quite some time. I know everyone has seen Rock Egg Diamond Valley before. That's not enough to get you a Spice Award these days, by the way. What I love seeing here, are the full play set of Cabal Ghoul, the effigies, the Fallen Angels, and all the different funky things that you can do with these creatures, right?
The anime deads.
Yeah, it's the animates that really pushed it over the top for me. And I said, okay, we're talking about this deck because you can just like, there are just so many interesting things that, oh gosh. Okay, so if you animate a Cabal Ghoul, does its ability must still trigger, right? Like, you could kill your it triggers every turn. Okay, so God, so you could basically kill your own Cabal Ghoul and reanimate it and have it get its token a counter for itself dying.
Yeah. Indeed.
Oh God, this is marvelous. Yeah. See, this is why we don't talk about these at all beforehand, because you have the genuine reactions as we figure this stuff out.
But this is like the exact kind of thing that I love when we go through these spicy decks. Like, if you look at the various different things going on, like there's like 2 Disharmony, and those work really well with like Fallen Angel and Diamond Valley. Like the Rook Eggs go well with the Diamond Valleys and the Fallen Angels, and like they also work well with the discs, and like there's just so many different things where you can kind of say, there's a good reason that these cards are here.
Yeah, all of them. I mean, like Earthquake does so much work with the Cabal Ghouls. It also pops your Ruck Egg. The discs really tie so much of this together. And the effigies they're crazy funky. I mean, sacrificing an effigy to a Fallen Angel like bolts an enemy creature, right?
Yeah.
And gives the Fallen Angel +2/+1. You just generated 5 damage basically. Yeah. For 2 mana.
It's a cool like in combat trick that you can actually do too, which you normally
absolutely.
You normally can't do a whole lot like that. It's just a better combat trick, I guess. Rather than just Diamond Valleying your effigy, you actually get.
Yeah, totally. And then, at the end of that play, you bolt their guy, you sack an effigy, you swing for 5 with the Fallen Angel, and then at the end of the turn, you play Cabal Ghoul, which is at least a 3/3 for 3. Like that's fine. Like, and that's like the floor.
Yeah.
Think of all the other crazy things you could do. This is a really cool deck. Chain Lightning combo as well with some of these other pieces, of course. Falling Star out of the board is another great way of killing multiple targets. I do like that this can be a Blood Moon deck pretty easily. She's got 5, like the 4 swamps and the jet there. To just kind of be like her black requirements are not super hard.
Yeah, black and red get some serious hate cards like those Blood Moons and Glooms. Jeez.
Glooms, yeah. And like Terror is just like a very efficient card. Combos with Cabal Ghoul, like come on. Yeah, I like this. I like this pile a lot. I'm regretting now. Did I sell you my Cabal Ghoul playset?
No, it wasn't me.
It wasn't you.
I talked to you
know
about
what?
it, but
Must have been Stebo.
Hmm.
I'm sad that I parted with those guys. I thought I was done after I played Cabal Ghoul, Hell's Caretaker, Concordant Crossroads, Sword of the Ages combo once, but
you thought you'd reached the end of the
yeah,
world.
no, I thought I'd done it all when I made an Infinite Ghoul, but I really should have kept those guys around a little longer. I don't have Diamond Valleys. That's my problem.
Yeah.
My only problem. Olga, this is an awesome deck. Well done.
Yeah, very cool.
All right, and that brings us to our final list, which comes to us from Raja James of Team Sirius in Ohio. His name in this deck is called the Trap 94, and good lord.
This is another one of those prison-y kind of things. I feel like I'd classify it in a similar category as the Turbo Fog things in a way, because you just get these board states where your opponent can't do much, and like you're trying to stop them from developing, really.
Similar, yeah, definitely the same overall, like, I don't know, kingdom, if we're talking like taxonomy, the prison kingdom. But this is a very different beast, because there are hard locks, like real hard locks in here. I actually played against Raja when he was testing this monstrosity. The Living Planes, and yeah, the Living Planes are really the thing that make the whole thing tick. And God, I can't even. Where to even start with this? I'm trying to explain like the interaction that we had, where he had like Living Plane and Tabernacle, and I had the card Holy Light, non-white creatures get -1/-1 until end of turns. So I'd boarded in Holy Light against him, and hilarity ensued. And it all came down to this insane standoff under you're basically locked out under Winter Orb. He's mostly just, that's why all these Felwar Stones are here, right? He's got this mountain of artifact mana, and meanwhile he has like a permanent Armageddon like situation happening here, where you can't really play lands, because anytime you play a land, it's got Summoning Sickness, and you have to pay for it under Tabernacle, and you can just pay to keep his Tabernacle up. With all the mana rocks. Oh god, this thing is gross.
Yeah, and just having no actual creatures other than your lands under Living Plane that die to drop a funny, right? Yep. So it's really just that seems awesome to me.
Yeah, it's really, really good. Oh, god, I want to say he did pretty well with this. I don't have the standings right in front of me, but he won a fair number of matches. Man, there are just so many, there are a lot of funky pieces to this.
Yeah, I'd almost, there's a moat in here. I'd almost want to play like one Abyss maybe, but you have to add some colored sources for that. But it's not necessary. You kind of have the drops anyway, so I'm sure he probably considered that at one point.
Yeah, knowing him, he certainly did.
Yeah.
Nothing here is accidental at all. The pile is really well tuned. God, I'm mostly just like scanning this thing, admiring all the altars and sigs and like miscuts, and somebody who really, really has gone deep on with their collection. And
also, I'll point out, this might not be for many old school players, but the Moxes and the Soul Ring, those are all like altered to be like, those are the full art
unhinged, right?
Unhinged John Avon lands, which is kind of cool. I've never seen that before.
That's super cool.
And I want to say the Soul Ring is a
Wastes from Battlefield Zendikar.
Yeah. So yeah, sorry, some non old school content there, but
some Qbert nonsense for sure. I want to think about Cursed Rack, and what and where we're going with Cursed Rack.
Hmm.
I assume it's coming in against maybe other tower lists.
Yeah.
Tower lists, other like control generally. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of how it works with the rest of the plan. God, I'm not smart enough to decipher some of the choices here.
Yeah, I'm at a loss too for the exact reasoning of that card, but I mean, like I can imagine there's just like random situations you might want it in, but I'd be hard pressed to go, yeah, I want to sideboard this in against this deck.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, he's got relic barriers and ices to cut off your own artifact mana sources mostly. And basically, this is like it's an artifact mana superiority deck essentially.
mhm.
He's making lands irrelevant or bad, and he's betting that he will have more mana rocks in play than you, and he has the other lock pieces to kind of keep it that way.
Mhm.
Hence the disenchants in the main deck Dust to Dust. Let's not gloss over those.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Who's main decking 2 Dust to Dust? Somebody who really doesn't want you to have Moxes around.
Yeah.
And that's sort of how he's maintaining this asymmetry.
Mm-hmm.
And then he can just eventually kill you with like the Hive or something.
That's a Shaman Ben altered Sylvan Library. That's cool.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's hot. Is that from which event is that from? I'm trying to zoom. The Eternal Weekend 2018. Yeah.
Mm.
So that was in Shaman Ben's actual deck
from
Pittsburgh that year, and it's those cards have made their way out into the MTG Underground diaspora, as it were. I started collecting those myself. I got bid up to $230 in the Pacific charity auction, trying to get my hands on one Shaman Ben sinkhole, essentially.
Yeah.
And that all worked out in the end.
That's good.
But those things are sought after.
Yeah.
Yeah, Raja, well done, man. Hats off to you. Really enjoyed playing against this. This is a diabolical pile, and I'm happy that this is exactly the diversity that we're trying to encourage when we talk about Atlantic rules. I say that kind of tongue in cheek because the longer I do this, and I don't know if you'll agree with this, Mike. The longer I do this, people are going to spice no matter what format it is. I mean, you're going to see funky, weird stuff on the tables. Whether it's 1 strip or 4 strips, or if factory is restricted or not. Whatever else is going on, spikes are going to spike, and people who want to brew around the exact constraints and just show off their flair and what they're about are going to do that 1,000% of the time. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think we see that even in, to your point, even in the like newer unexplored formats, right? It's not like people are just like spicing just because they're bored of playing other stuff necessarily, right? They're just, I feel like people want to play decks that they find interesting to play, and it can be very hard to find that in just a, if you're not the kind of person that finds like creature combat interesting. That's totally fair, and
right,
and there, I kind of hope that there's always a path to being able to enjoy some other part of the format that isn't that, just as an example.
Definitely. Well, so that's the set of decks that we settled on highlighting. I will say that there were many others that were under consideration. There were a lot of weird things happening in this tournament. It was a pleasure to organize, as always. It was really cool to see a lot of this stuff and just to hear stories, of people playing against people from other clubs and countries and stuff, and just making new friends, which is really what all this is about. So
I think during the batches, I played a bunch of new people that I'd never met before.
Yeah, no, exactly. Me too. And that's, I don't know. This has been such a shitty year, like in so many ways, but it's nice to be able to have platforms like this, to continue to have reasons to brew and have things to look forward to and get excited about. So thanks to everyone who was a part of it, and looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, thanks for hosting.
My pleasure.
Yeah. All right. I guess we'll cut this one short, and I'll talk to everybody next time. Talk to you next time, Dave.
Sounds good. Take it easy, Mike.
See you.